All right, so in this video, we're going to take a look at how you can put together a thesis statement. So if you remember, with the thesis statement, if you go back to our introductory video, we've got our hook at the beginning of our introduction. We've got our details in the middle. And then we have our thesis statement at the end. So remember, your thesis statement is the most specific and final thing that's going to exist inside your introduction. Now, to be fair, it's also going to make an appearance in the conclusion, where you reword your thesis statement, provide your details, and then have your closer, which is sort of the opposite of your hook. Both of them are broad, but the closer is meant to sort of be a global message that just about anybody can understand. So it should be the least specific part of your conclusion. So enough of a refresh here. All right, so if you watched the types of academic writing video, then you'll know that I briefly sort of posited this as an example. So I suggested that this might be something in terms of an argumentative paper or a research paper or an argumentative research paper that you could potentially use as a topic. I didn't really go into it a whole lot, so that's what we're going to do now. So I always start thinking of my papers in some form of a 5-paragraph essay format. You don't have to keep it that way, but it helps me personally organize my thoughts. So one of the things you need to include in your thesis statement is you need to preview what's going to come in the body of the paper. So that's our first thing that we need to do. Preview the body. Now, when I think of this, I think of the 3 main body paragraphs. Each one of them is going to have a topic sentence. So, what are going to be the 3 topics for each one of those individual body paragraphs? So, we'll get back to that. But be thinking about what that could be. Number 2, and I'm going to put this one in all caps. Be specific, all right? Don't use wishy-washy language. In this world, in the world of this paper, you are the expert, all right? So you're transitioning from a student that is learning about a topic to now you are the one educating your classmates, your teacher, the general public, future students, whatever it is. They can't have you be wishy-washy here. So that means avoid words like probably, should, might, could, possibly, things like that. All right, you need to make sure that your language is strong here. You are the authority. Remember that. And then finally, make sure that you discuss or list the potential topic sentences or topics for your topic sentences in order. So, if I was going to talk about, let's keep it really simple. Let's say I was going to write a 5-paragraph essay on the primary colors. And my thesis statement was something along the lines of, the 3 primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. So what that means is, and we bring back our double arrowhead fishbone thing. So if these are our 3 body paragraphs, if you're going to say, I'm going to discuss red, blue, and yellow, then you're going to discuss red, then blue, then yellow. So however you decide to list them in your thesis statement, make sure that's the order that you discuss them in the body of the paper. All right, so you want to preview the body, so make sure that you are going to list out the 3 topic sentence ideas that you're going to talk about for each one of the 3 body paragraphs, or however many body paragraphs you may need. Now, if you have 8 to 12 body paragraphs, don't list them all out. They're going to have, some of them are going to have things in common, but we can get to that in a much, much, much later video. But for right now, if you're working on a 5-paragraph essay, make sure that you come up with the 3 things that are going to appear in each one of your body paragraphs. So the first one you list should be the first one. The second one you list should be the second one. The third one you list should be the third one. And be specific. No wishy-washy language. Strong language. You're the authority here. So, if we were going to talk about weight gain due to excessive streaming or binging streaming content, the first thing that I would be concerned with is inactivity. All right, so when you are binging something, unless you are one of those people that is very much not like me and can run on a treadmill or something like that while watching something on your phone or your laptop, I have tried that before. It did not end well for me. All right, so unless you are one of those people that can do that or doesn't mind walking on a walking track while people get mad and run around you, most of the time when people are watching something or binging a lot of streaming materials, you're sitting down. You're sitting on the couch, you're sitting in your computer chair, you're sitting in the bathroom, you're sitting wherever, all right? So inactivity is a main concern if my belief is that it contributes to weight gain. So, number 2, your diet. When you are sitting there on the couch, and I speak as someone who has spent a lot of time on the couch, the first instinct when someone is sitting there and watching stuff, unless you have the self-control of a monk, all right, my first reaction is never to go like, I'm gonna go grab the hummus and the carrot sticks. It's more like, I'm going to go pop popcorn and then dump a bunch of butter on the popcorn that already has butter on it. All right, so generally speaking, what seems good to you when you are sitting around and just watching TV is what's quick, easy, and tastes good. Now that could be anything like my wife's proclivity towards popping open a can of SpaghettiOs and eating them out of the can, or it could be me putting butter on a Pop-Tart. Cue Family Guy reference. But whatever it is, generally speaking, if I'm sitting there and watching, say, I don't know, Futurama or Rick and Morty or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something like that, or Game of Thrones. If I'm watching Game of Thrones, like, I'm not gonna go eat, you know, a bunch of broccoli. Like, I want a big piece of like pork on the bone or something like that. So generally your cravings are not gonna go towards the healthy options. Then of course you have the inactivity, and finally you have the addictive nature of binging something. Now, let's not kid ourselves here. Television companies and streaming companies make their money off of you returning over and over and over again to binge their content. So, to a certain extent, they make their money off of your addiction. It's not as sinister as, say, illegal drugs or cigarettes or smokeless tobacco or alcohol or anything like that, but an addiction is an addiction all the same. And I don't know if you've ever seen somebody, because I've been this guy, and I've witnessed these people. I don't know if you've ever been around someone who's just spent 10 hours binging their way through an entire show of something. The most recent thing, I guess that would be a candidate. We didn't watch the whole thing in one go, but if there was something I probably could have sat down and watched in one go, it was probably Watcher on Netflix. But if you're around someone who's just absorbed 10 hours worth of content without any kind of real breaks, they're human, but only barely. Like, I mean, in the same way that if you have unfortunately ever been around someone who's dealing with real addiction, especially to illegal drugs or something like that, I mean, there's a zombie-like quality about feeding the addiction. The same thing exists when you're talking about a product that's meant for you to use it and use it and use it and use it and keep on coming back to it. So, of the 3 body paragraphs, hypothetically, that I would have, the first one would be the inactive nature of binging something. Unless, of course, like I said, you're one of those rare people that can get up, go to the gym, get super motivated, and then just binge content while you're running on the treadmill or something. Your diet. Not exactly the best way to burn calories, and certainly doesn't encourage a lot of super healthy eating, at least in my experience. And third, the nature of addiction. This is a platform that encourages you to not wander too far away. I mean, there's a reason why you can watch it on the TV, you can watch it on the laptop, you can watch it on your phone. Like, it's it's getting to the point where it's almost inescapable. So let's take a look at how we would place these 3 things within an actual thesis statement sentence. All right? So again, we need to make sure that we list out the different areas we're going to discuss, make sure we talk about them in order, and most importantly, we need to make sure that we are not being wishy-washy. We have strong, firm language. So when it comes to actually writing this sentence, we want to take a look at the actual prompt. Does excessive streaming cause significant weight gain? So your first order of business, before you get to any of the other stuff that we've talked about, is you need to answer their question. I cannot tell you how many times as a student I was marked down for this. I cannot tell you how many times I have marked students down for this. I will ask them a very simple question, like, what childhood memory most resonates with you? And their thesis statement will be about something like pie, all right? Like, if they're asking you to tell them if you think excessive streaming causes weight gain, then it either needs to be a no or a yes in the form the question was asked. So, what I would say to this would be, excessive streaming does cause let's not use the same word twice in one sentence. Cause significant weight gain amongst viewers due to an inactive lifestyle poor diet choices and the contents addictive nature. All right, so excessive streaming does cause significant weight gain amongst viewers due to an inactive lifestyle, poor diet choices, and the content's addictive nature. Now, I had to catch myself a couple places here because I almost made mistakes. And that's just from me having done this and taught this so many times that I was able to catch myself when I was doing it. And I'll explain what I almost did. So right here, where it says does, I almost wrote can, meaning, and it's true, it's not just because you stream does not gonna make you into a, lazy, overweight addict or something like that. It certainly can do that, but we want to say that it does because that's stronger from a perspective of how we view the way the sentence looks. So does, as opposed to can or could, suggests that there's a choice in the matter, whereas does, it basically makes them equal. So because you binge, it means that you will become more lazy, gain weight, and develop an addiction. Now, that's not necessarily true, but coming from where we're coming from, you need to defend the way that you feel. You need to defend your own thesis statement. So it's about closing holes in the armor before someone can mount an objection to it. So absolutely, are there people that binge streaming services every day and stay the same weight and stay the same level of health? Of course there are. But by saying does instead of can, it makes our argument stronger. The other spot where I almost caught myself was here. I almost wrote, and its addictive nature. Its is not really a word that you want to use in this particular circumstance because it begs the question, what is it? And you want to try and remove as many of those potential hurdles out of your viewers or your readers' way as you can. So because its came across kind of it's more than likely they would get there on their own, but you're making them work harder, and there's some ambiguity there. There's some lack of clarity. I just went ahead and wrote the contents, meaning the shows that are on the streaming service, addictive nature. So it happens to everyone, and there's a lot of self-editing that's involved with this, but basically, on a simple 101 kind of level, This is a strong thesis statement. You answer their question that they posed in the prompt, you have previewed what's coming, and you've done it in order as long as you talk about inactivity, poor diet, and then the addictive nature in that order. So you've covered all of those bases we talked about, and through self-editing, we avoided any kind of vague language or potentially wishy-washy content that could be questioned by our readers. So there are going to be people that disagree with you just on principle with this, and that's okay. You're trying to defend it from your perspective. All right? So I will see you in the next video, but thesis statements. List out what you're going to discuss. Don't be wishy-washy, have strong language, and make sure that you list things in order. All right?